and Julie Todd and Dan are working on stuff behind the scenes as well. Rutro happens to be in the audience. Julie Todd's probably working on something, and Dan is out gallivanting, I'm sure. But they are doing some really cool things too. So as they come up, if you have things that you're working on, make sure you put it in the innovatorsthinktank.com so that we know what you're working on. You can put it down in the purple bubble so it gets attached to this space. We want to make sure people know what you're building, how you're building it. If you're willing to share your GitHubs and your workflows, then all the more. Um, it there's a weird sentiment, folks. We talked about it briefly last night. You know, I think copying is the highest form of flattery. All the great masters had to copy. They were apprentices. That's how they did it in the studios. If you did book work or copy work, as they called it, how to do your calligraphy, how to, master poetry, you would have to copy and write down your own version. If you were a apprentice and a tool maker, um, that was proof. You carried around your toolbox, and your employer would look at the toolbox and say, you built a good hammer. I think that you have the proper skills. I will hire you. This has happened throughout history. And I know that when we're using code from other folks and things like that, sometimes it feels too easy because you're not working hard for it. That's not true. You are honing your skills, your discerning skills, and your editing skills. You're deciding what to keep and what to throw away. It's just like a poker game. You know, when you hear Kenny Rogers, you know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know what to walk away, know when to run, kind of thing. You're trying to figure out what cards to hold. And sometimes we make poor choices and we'll pick a code that infects everything, right? Um, but one of the other things that we did talk about last night too was hat tipping the folks that help you. We live in an age now with the technology that we don't need someone else to tell us what to do. We can be good humans solely on our own. And if you understand smart contracts or you understand permaweb, for instance, or things like that, you can digitally notarize your work, but also hat tip the people who helped you. If someone, you're using their GitHub code or whatever, embed it in your project, throw them a couple pennies. It doesn't matter how much, right? Necessarily, it's the fact that you're acknowledging them. 9 times out of 10, it's the contribution, right? A lot of inventors, I'm one of these people, it's not so much about being paid, it's about being acknowledged that your value and your skills, your contribution mattered to the overall project. And so, think about that when you're building stuff. And, I'm not telling you you have to, I'm not chastising you or shaming you into including and revealing your sources. But I will tell you, you live a much easier life if you do. If you try to hold them back and hide them, you're constantly trying to hide them, and it really prohibits you from moving forward and building cooler things. So, be a good helper into the ecosystem. And if something was given to you as open source, definitely acknowledge those folks. Hashlips is another one of those people who just gives away a lot of stuff and his projects and whatnot. And there are a lot of good people that hat tip him and say, yeah, you know what? You made me a millionaire. I'm definitely going to add to your coffers. So, hoping that you guys embrace that. Um, as for any other um, kinds of announcements that may not have missed last night, the Innovators Think Tank did pick their five folks for their mastermind. And I think Sharon and AI John and Masha are included in that group, which is really, really, really cool. A couple of our AI family members were in a Netflix series, which is really cool. Ludwig was last night. I'm trying to find the link up top. Cash Money Kev had it yesterday. It's just really cool to see people getting acknowledged for their skills. And, when something is number one on Amazon Prime, and it is an AI generated film, a cinematography, and people here in this space that you work side by side with who have shared their stuff with you, is a part of that. There's something really cool about that. I know I did a happy dance when I saw it. Ludwig is not allowed to say anything, neither was Heather Cooper. And, they're winking and nodding behind the scenes. But, Pixio, the thing that you use, is what Ludwig used. And, it was a part of his workflow. And so when you see crazy, amazing success like that using the same tools that you're using, there is some aspiration, goals there. And so I'm really excited for that. I think that Alisher is all set. I'm looking and seeing if he has his workflow. He does. It's posted up top and it's live. I will be reposting the stream. Alisher, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, guys. So yesterday we talked about, I guess, building out our front page, and of course hosting. Right. We'll talk about hosting later, but I think right now mainly let's talk about building out and changing this front page. I think that's the important part, is making this look like it's different, not like it's the template that we have already. Um, let's see how we can do that. Let's take a look at some of the tools we have at our disposal. So of course, the first tool that we have at our disposal is 21st Dev. And I'm gonna put the StreamYard link in the Slack as well if you guys want to join. And we'll build out your front pages. See season 7. All right, come and join, guys, if you want to join and share your screen in a minute. And in the meantime, I'm actually going to spend like 15 minutes and rebuild this page. Because I think since I built this page, the AI has become that much better that I can now probably completely redesign this with one prompt. So let's see. I'm going to go to my AI tutor. And I'm thinking what I should do is I'll probably use Beam. I just have to save some things in Beam first. Let's bring in Beam. Okay, now let's see. Where is this code located in our project? Well, in our project, all of this is going to be in landing page. Right? The way I broke it down is each component has its own folder. Each component might have its own components. Pretty much what I did is I went to 21st Dev. And this is so you guys are aware, in 21st Dev, almost every one of these components is made up of other components. So if I was to go to this one where I can strike through, where I can make different things, this is like really slow. I wouldn't use this one. You'll notice there's a few things. There's button, there's canvas, there's demo, right? Those are the three things you're gonna need to bring into your project. And that's why in each of the components you see, there's other components folders. So you'll notice like something like timeline has, 5, 6, 7 different components. You don't have to be that complex. It could be a lot simpler. All right, and I'm actually going to grab all of these at once. So I'm going to do reveal in File Explorer, and I'm going to bring all of these files from landing page into my conversation. If you guys didn't know, in Beam, you can just drag files into your context here. Super useful. And I'm also going to give it the page, right? There's a page responsible for putting all these components together. And that page is in our files. I think it's inside of dashboard, maybe. Front, it's right here. So this front folder is responsible for the front page, right? It's super simple. So yeah, you'll notice this page is made out of components like hero, timeline section, pricing, and footer. Those are all the things you see on the front page. And each one of those components potentially made up of 5 or 6 other components that we brought in. Well, we could simplify it by having everything on this one page, or we can just create some simple components instead of these ones. But for now, let's say I want to change this front page. So I'm going to say, here's my landing page. I want to change this page as much as possible. And let's see. So my website, my example, it's a Google ad generator with, and there's a RAG chat feature, right? So what I'm going to say is probably this app is a Google ad generator. You put in a website link, it scrapes the website, and based on trends and context, trends and context generates Google ad or Google search ads. Google search ads that the user can use for their website, their product. So you want to give it some context so it knows what your website is about. I'm gonna say also it is a chat app that has a RAG file system integrated into the chat. Okay, so now it knows what our app is a little bit about. Now it knows that we're changing the landing page. Now let's give it some keywords, right? There's always some keywords you want to give it for it to kind of know how hard it should go in terms of design. And what I like to do is say, first, I want to say what I want, right? I'm going to say I want the full landing page edited, and I don't want to use the components from uh, the landing page folder. And then let's maybe say keep all the code on this one page. This one page. Okay, now we're gonna say be extremely creative, if I could spell, extremely creative with the landing page. With the landing page. Create an engaging and interactive experience. Um, the user must feel excited about the product. I'm going to say change the color scheme as well. Um, and then we'll do create extremely or create well designed, well thought out, and clean code for this landing page. And we'll see where this gets us. Oh, and I guess we should also specify what components we want to have, right? So I'm going to say I want to have a hero um, feature section, a bento section, maybe somewhere in there. All pricing section. Pricing is very important. Call to action somewhere in there, and the footer. I'm gonna say make sure all these sections have animations. They are interactive and engaging for the user. And then some other keywords I like to add is use maximum context. Use maximum context and give me the full code. Full code for this page. All right, we'll see what this gives us, right? This is kind of trying to one-shot this whole thing. You can be a lot more granular. You can say exactly what you want from each component. And maybe we'll even add some images for inspiration. Actually, probably gonna switch it to Claude. Claude might do this better. I was about to use the new Gemini, but you know, some it could be that it's like rate limited. So
Yesterday it got weird.
it's
It started being like not looking.
yeah, sometimes. Gemini is really good if you have like long context, right? I was feeding it docs that were like 200K, 400K context. That's where it's really good. Okay, now let's see if this works. Oh, I did choose thinking. Well, that's okay. Let it think. Let it think it out. We have the context for it,
I like
especially because we want to be creative. We're just starting out. Thinking will definitely be useful. Oh, that's okay. Let's copy it again. I need to clear my cache and refresh this. I have a lot of conversations that are long. And so I'm hoping it will really be clean about this integration. No, I think it'll be good.
reading stuff.
I am, but I really don't need to. I just care about the code. Now, ideally, you want to get some stuff from 21st Dev as well, but what I noticed is when you bring some of these in, they're kind of heavy and they really make your front page slower. But some of these are pretty light. And they're cool, but after a while, you're going to run out of the different components here. Like, I mean, not even after a while, after a few websites, you run out of different components and you do got to make your own. You got to kind of
Yeah, Tutor helps make stuff.
think about what you would want the user to maybe fidget on your website with. Um, that to make them linger as well. And also you want to make it animated, right? I think animation is a big part of it where it's somewhat smooth and you know, it feels like somebody put a lot of work in it. Let's see if AI can be creative in our case here. Now, some of the things you guys will also notice is sometimes it wants you to upload pictures, right? So what you want to do in this case is when uploading pictures, all of your pictures are going to go in the public folder. You'll notice I have the logo there and I have some of the testimonial pictures. Um, Other ways to pull pictures, you can actually just, I guess, get a link directly to that picture on the web somewhere, right? So I'm sure AI Tutor has like a logo, like in our docs somewhere that I can just pull and always use and reuse. Just like if you have testimonials and it's people from Twitter, you can just try to pull in their profile picture from Twitter instead of downloading it. Oh, that's another good one. Yeah. So some things you guys can include as you're building your front page out. You want to have a good hero, this good heading component. That's yeah. I spent most of my time on this just because animations are a little wonky in Next.js, I think.
Coding general.
Senja, there you go. And
That's so pretty.
yeah, if you want to have a testimonials component, Senja is really good. You guys can check it out. You can pull in a wall of reviews, and it's free, yeah. And we use it pretty much on every website now. Just looks so nice, so well designed, always fits. Some other components you'll notice here, us versus the other guys, right? The comparison component, the FAQ, so the things you guys can start filling in. And just depending on what your features are, just some sort of a block that includes what features you have. That's about it. The front page is fairly simple landing page. Wow, this is still going. So this is going to be a pretty long piece of code.
This one here.
Yeah.
I like to do it.
It's good. We'll let it finish. Because I asked for maximum output.
Here.
And all I really have to do is just replace this front page. It'll take care of everything else for me. Do you guys have any questions? We'll see what this gives us on the front page. But yes, some keywords to keep in mind. You could tell it to be creative if you wanted to sort of just start thinking on its own and start filling in the gaps. Otherwise, you have to be very specific. And if you want to look a specific way, you can even give it pictures. Highly recommend. Yeah. If you guys find something like a Figma, just screenshot it, upload it, ask it to make it look like this. What do you mean? Yeah, switch shots, yeah. All right, let's see. See what we got here. A lot of errors. Not good. Not probably real.
Sound it a little crazy? Or do you make up components? Does that all the time?
Yeah,
It's
probably.
like, oh, here's a component. It doesn't make sense. I didn't tell it. I'm doing it like only use what you have. Don't make it.
Yeah.
Don't have.
Let's say do not use
Yeah, it's just like don't make components up.
components. Tailwind, another keyword, Tailwind CSS for styling and elements. Um, yeah, I'll say maybe make this a it's a bit kind of it really messed it up by creating multiple functions here. That's really the problem. But
You don't have to keep the function at the top of the page.
Yeah.
To make it clean. That's sometimes helps it be more clean.
keep all the code in one JSX element.
Well, yesterday I said best practices in front end. That helped it.
JSX bar. All the functional code. At the top. Like the regular Next.js page. And some things you can give it is also to make sure to follow Tailwind and Next.js coding convention. Or just give me the full updated code. A lot of these errors that it gives you here, unfortunately, just going to be type errors or errors related to components.
For me, yesterday was all components.
Yeah.
Out referencing components that you don't actually.
Wonder how bad it's gonna not work right now.
It,
Oh,
yeah, well, those are functions. You're right.
I wish it's not that bad though.
5 real ones.
Just scroll back at the bottom.
It just likes to make things up.
Yeah.
So like, well, don't do that. Here's the code, and they use it. Then it can make up.
This looks a lot more simplified now. Did you guys end up editing your front page last night with Ross?
I did Alisher, and I am solving an issue right now. It's a linting issue that I ran into. The Vercel.
Yeah, so Vercel, you just have to replace Vercel with Railway.
Exactly.
It's just like, yeah, Vercel, even when you pay their $20, you're still hit with a certain timeout. So it's just not useful. Also, Vercel, if you're gonna do like some sort of images, Vercel is gonna try to optimize those images, and that's
Oh my god,
they're gonna charge you for that as well.
I couldn't believe we got charged for stuff.
So as good as it is, Railway just much easier. This website, realistically, will cost you like less than $1, $2 a month, and yeah,
Yeah.
and for like the $5 tier, they give you $5 to play with anyway, so you'll be good.
It's just they don't have a free tier. That's the only important thing. There's no true free tier.
Yeah, but I think you can just sign up and try with those initial $5
No, not anymore.
when you connect your GitHub.
Now they require you to pay
Oh, okay.
because of abuse.
Yeah, I could see that.
They emailed me a long time ago and they said no more fee.
I could see that. But yeah, Railway super useful. Just don't get carried away because it is still a platform where
Pay as you go.
even though you pay monthly, you still have to pay for other compute after those $5. And then you have other solutions too, like DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean has their
Oh,
what is it called? App platform. Yeah.
um,
Netlify is another one. Netlify is
And then render, but I don't use render.
I tried both of them
Which one?
between last week and now, Render and Netlify, and they're both a little bit slow for this on the free tier.
Netlify, I think is better for front end, and I think
Still timeout.
Oh, there's timeout on
Yeah.
Netlify?
Yeah. The timeout on Netlify is even worse than
It's
Vercel.
like 8 seconds, right?
Yeah, and the build is a lot longer.
Vercel's, I think, 10 max.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. Oh, much better. One type there.
That would work.
It'll work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. I don't have the pictures. And this host is
Oh,
not.
you just add that to the thing.
Yeah.
Like, easy.
I gotta see if I have anything like that.
You probably have nothing.
But I'll just give this answer to AI. AI will fix it for me. And I can give it the other error too.
Oh, they're different?
The other one's
Yes,
a
they're in
type error. Good old type errors. TypeScript is good
It's called TypeScript for me.
for safety reasons, but a lot of times it'll annoy you.
Annoying on Excel, it just won't build. Oh, yeah, you think
Well, if you don't want to use TypeScript, just don't use TypeScript and
True.
have a different framework.
Or just kill linting.
Yeah. And there's some other small quirks like apostrophes and all that might cause issues.
Oh, gotta escape everything. Oh. That's fun.
If you guys want to come and speak and ask your questions, sending out the invites. I do recommend Beam if you're gonna do like long form code. Just parses it better and faster.
You don't have Beam on multiple.
Plus,
Or plus.
plus is good. But just watch out. Once you get like over 200 contexts and certain things with Gemini, um, you're gonna feel the slowdown. And what's up? I see a hand up. What comes to mind?
Hi, good morning. Why did you just for learning purposes? Why did you tell it not to use the tone and other chance or forgot what exactly? Why did you tell it not to use those?
Okay, I'll be honest. I had a hard time hearing you. So if anybody, Sarah, did you or Cashman, did you guys hear her?
If you
I
can move just a little bit closer, with the phone,
yeah.
I think it'll pick up your mic just a little bit better.
Let me
Or maybe your hand was covering the microphone. It sounded like a little muffled.
Generally speaking, your mic is always soft spoken, so we kind of get used to it. But this morning, it's very faint. This is what you sound like, very faint. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
You know, if you want to shoot me a message, you can shoot me a message too. Um, I'll answer it for everybody as well. Um, but yeah, sorry, I just didn't hear. I'm also like I'm on Android, so it sounds even worse. Like even other people speaking just sounds terrible.
Oh, I didn't even realize my
So,
mic. my mic.
oh, perfect. Okay.
My mic was off. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh,
much better.
okay. So it's the headphones. Stuff is no, I was saying like when I think like you told it not to use like tailwind and others, like why did you tell it not to use the different can we hear that? Okay.
Right. So the reason I told it that is because that's what it's already using in this project, right? So if you go to code, that's a good question. If you go to code, right, all of these projects that you find on GitHub and whatnot, they'll have frameworks. So our framework is Next.js, Tailwind, TypeScript. Those are the three main things that kind of make up this page, right? TypeScript, you'll notice certain things they would say string, number, boolean, etc. Those are types. So it enforces those. And then things like if we go to our code and you see things like animated gradient, like this overflow hidden height, all of these styles, that's Tailwind. So there's different things, different frameworks controlling different parts of the page, right? And then next is like the framework that allows us to do JavaScript here and all of that together. You know, all this little stuff like triggers and whatnot. So that's just like the framework of this project. Other projects might have different frameworks. It could be like Python, Gradion, something else. So each project has its own framework.
Okay, thank you. Now, I have
So
one more question.
yeah,
So
what's up?
like I love this site. Are you familiar with the site Awards, AWWARDS, where they have a very extravagant website?
Um, yeah, I
What was my question?
Like do you have a site in mind?
No, well, I was gonna ask because like a lot of those sites use what I found out is called GSAP. Would it be? So like I love drama and everything, like animations, but I can get a little ambitious. Would it be too much to try to add GSAP to our front page, or should we like say baby steps? GSAP. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Green stock animation properties. I think it stands for.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, what I'm. If you wanted to give an example of an animation, you could probably even give it a video, but it's really you have to verbally describe it. That's
I'm gonna, you know what?
picture is good
I'll
too.
find a site and I'll put it in Slack. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
find a site and put it in Slack as an example.
Yeah. So Ross is recommending you can even use pictures and arrows and give it to the AI.
With words.
I've tried that as well
Cause
before.
like I've with other sites, that's one thing that I've found an issue with in Sonnet, like trying to add GSOP to like a WordPress, and it just sometimes it really messes up, and I'm like,
So WordPress is a little bit tough
oh,
because with WordPress, what ends up happening is it's a different framework, and WordPress has its own like rigid structure, and each WordPress has a builder. Like there's different builders for whichever WordPress. Somebody might be using Gutenberg, somebody might be using Divi.
Big animation.
because with
Yeah.
regular animations, it's fine, but even like with Shopify, but when I tell Sonnet like, okay, add GSAP elements, then like for some reason, like the animations are fine, but I'm gonna put like a site example in Slack, but then it's like, oh no, they don't. It acts up, but okay, I'll put an example in Slack. Thank you.
Really nice.
Yeah, for animation, really, you want to describe it with words, and you want to be a little bit technical with it, and you want to say things like, "Oh, it's also a lot is graphics, right? Images.
Yeah.
People underestimate the power of having good images because then you can have images with transparent backgrounds. You can have maybe even a 3D model that like flips or something like that. Um, but for example, if I look at this website, I think I've used this as an example for a year. I mean, for months now. This website, you see how there's this hero that things appear around of. These are just 6 images around a word in the middle of the screen with just some basic animation.
Like, have you seen Luna site?
Luma,
So
Luma,
is made with
Luma.
frame machine. The thing after right?
Yeah, this one's
It's made completely with Framer and Next.js, and it's gorgeous.
for the Dream Machine website specifically.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, wait,
that's nice too.
That is nice, but go to their main website. They changed it. Page. This.
Oh, that's
This
nice.
is all Framer. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
But if you think about it, like first, the important thing here is this is an image, this is a video.
Yep.
Right? That's what's important. That's what makes up most of this
And
visual.
it's gorgeous.
So this is going to be very easy to recreate.
Love the That's how you want to think about like animation.
And then here you would say things like, oh, then this image moves down
As
as you scroll. Yeah.
They did a good job. And some person-
Ooh, gotta show
Guillermo
this.
retweeted it.
Gotta show this to Nick.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
This could potentially be like the start of the Pixio page now.
Like go through. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
so this is cool. So for this, I would even say give it images to the
And this
AI
is
and then
3JS.
label them, right?
This is 3JS. They tweeted about it, and they open source the components. You can actually go to their GitHub and
That's
get the
cool.
component made with 3JS.
Yeah, 3GS is just a little bit tougher probably, but it's cool. It's really good.
Well, they ended up doing it in Framer. They open source 3JS, but the production's in Framer. In Next.js.
But yeah, you just need to really describe this verbally for the AI, what's happening on the screen.
And stuff like that, exactly.
And as cool as this is, you see the lag when
Yeah.
I'm dragging around. It is
Definitely.
extreme. These are the things you want to like avoid,
Yeah, I like that.
especially in your front page,
That looks
because
so
you
good.
have to realize something. A lot of SEO is based on the speed of your website, how fast it loads. So when you're introducing lag, um, your SEO score just goes down drastically.
Well, I wouldn't say this is a good example of SEO site. I just showing you 'cause it's like very frame rate animated.
And like things like these, for example, you don't have to make this in 3D. If you want something like this, you can just have two images. Go to something like Canva. Canva has the
Oh,
mockups
someone
feature.
sent you another one.
Simple.
Okay, I put an example in this.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at this example.
That's the page not found. 404.
Oh, that's interesting. That's cool. That's a cool website. I would say personally, just a lot going on here.
Does it actually work?
I can't do anything here.
One of the keys for your website is you need to compress your images. There's tools that will compress them, but you
Yeah,
don't want them bigger than like 150K.
You want to
Otherwise,
get on the top.
100%. You're absolutely right. And for things like icons, try to use vector graphics. Try to use SVGs. They're much lighter. React icons is another good one. Has a lot of icons. But a lot of these components, like especially this one, super easy component to make. Like just like Ross showed last night, you can have like a gradient running across your whole website. Oh, this is a good one. Um, this is a different style of a website because this is a little bit, I guess, more bold. You have large graphics, smaller text. And then I guess you can look at some of these. If you really look at something like this, for example, do they not have like a demo that you can see? Like these are just two images coming together and then just fancy animation on the text. That's about it. So you kind of have to, in your mind, break this down and how you would describe this verbally, right? You have to understand how to kind of achieve this with the basic elements that you have. A lot of times, whenever somebody shows you a website, it's really just the good images, right? Somebody's spending the time to design like a really good background and whatnot. For example, even here, right? All it is just really good looking images, and then there's some logic to it whenever you go between slides. That's about it.
Yeah, if you look all the way to the bottom right, it says visit sites. But like on this site, periods, like awards.com, like they have all kind of like crazy type of sites like this. But I went, it wasn't this site, but it was another one. I asked Gemini 2.0 something, whatever. What was the components of it? It's the HTML5, JSF, and all kind of stuff. And because I didn't know what it was called. Thank you.
Yeah, so for us, you want to focus on Next.js, Tailwind, and oh, this is the Gemini website. Interesting. Just wanted to see. Never seen this side of it. Gemini? No, it just looks like ChatGPT at this point. Yeah, but for these, well, here's like it has a little cursor follower as well, and you already know that's in 21st dev. You can literally get the code
No,
for it in one of these.
I asked Gemini another site on the award site, like what was I put the site in Gemini and I asked them what were the components of that site. It was a site like this. Like if you go to the the site I gave you and click on like other sites, you'll see like a whole bunch of other sites that they have. Like they do like awards for like, you know, websites, UX, UI design and all kind of stuff. I'll put the site in the full site.
Yeah, this is really nice, and you can definitely like verbally describe what happens on here if you ever want to like recreate this.
Or just pass it 20 screenshots.
Yeah,
Like here, 15 screenshots.
Here's what the website looks like as I scroll through it.
Or go slow, page by page. Start with like the hero.
Yeah, that's what I've done with Shopify as well. And it's pretty good with doing that. Like that's what helped me. It's just sometimes like I don't know sometimes like what not to ask you for code and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna take note on that because I don't know.
Things like that, you gotta be careful because all you can really do is embed stuff. You can't actually like recode it. And then you can embed.
But yeah, it's really just like understanding what to break it down into. This is like this would be called like a parallax scroll, and then you just have a really nice background, a good font. This could even be a picture if you want it to be, and then know how to explain to AI how to break this down. That's about it. And then you kind of start to see where one component ends and another
But
one,
most
you know,
of the
begins.
coolness on that top part is just a picture.
Yeah.
Like the beautiful photography.
So if I want to put images in, so I've got it up on video Visual Studio Code. I need to push what I've done now into GitHub, and then in GitHub, I can change the files for Railway. Is that how it works?
You don't have to do nothing.
You don't have to change anything. So Railway works almost the same as Vercel. Whenever you push to GitHub, it rebuilds automatically.
So I would change the images in Visual Code Studio, or where would I switch out the images? I would build it in
Yeah,
Visual.
yeah, and yeah. Whatever coding you do is going to be done in Visual Studio Code. So including changing out the images, including, you know, changing what anything looks like code-wise, it'll all be in Visual Studio Code. And yeah, and once you set it up in Railway once, it'll have that connection where every time you push to GitHub, it will rebuild in Railway, just like Vercel does it.
And where do you push in Visual Studio Code? Where do you push?
You push in GitHub Desktop.
Oh, okay. So okay, got it.
You know this tab right here, GitHub Desktop,
Yeah, yep,
where it shows you what's been changed.
yeah,
You commit and you push.
got it.
And let's actually, I like that idea. I like the way these websites are designed. So what I think I'm gonna do is take some screenshots of this website and give it to the AI. Because right now it's still recreated, even though what it created is nice, right? It's still kind of basic. So what I think I'm gonna do is take screenshots of this website or the Luma website and give it to the AI.
Alicia, the components in VO2, if we launch our website on Roll, right, can we use those components? Or are they only for Vercel, sites like on Vercel?
Well, which
The
components?
components in VO2 or VO2, what is it, VO2?
Oh yeah, so components from V0 are just like made from ShatCN anyway. But yeah, you can launch it wherever because it's just the same code, right? Nothing is exclusive to Vercel. You can launch it on Railway, you can launch it on DigitalOcean, Google. Let's see, maybe we'll go with this one. Wonder if it will take a video, but we'll stick to screenshots. I'm gonna say here are some screenshots for inspiration. Actually, I'm indecisive, so I will go with the Luma website. Let's give it a refresh. Actually, we'll even screenshot it when it loads, or try to.
Actually, sometimes I give it the site and it also, takes from it as well.
I'm surprised it does that. Maybe one of these other models,
With
like Gemini,
1.7,
could
I've
browse it.
done it and it actually is able to tell me and then code from that.
I think it's important to get some of these in betweens, so it actually animates it.
Also, I put the whole site that has like a whole bunch of sites in Slack. So if you wanted to see the other sites they have, I put it in Slack and in the chat.
But yeah, typically you are gonna have some things that some features that you'll lose, right, as you go from one framework to another. But Next is pretty good. It has a lot of integration. Wonder how much I can actually give it. There's a lot of scrolling on this website.
Alice, your love, Sharon has her hand up.
Oh, what's up, Sharon?
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm just watching the stream. Is this a Next.js template? Did I miss something? I don't know what this is.
This is Luma's website.
Never been
Luma Dream
on it.
Machine.
That's crazy. I never been on it. I'm a Pixio power user, so I don't care what else goes on in the world. Okay, thank you.
We'll change our Pixio website too.
Yeah.
It'll be even crazier than this
Oh
one.
yeah, I was just wondering what this is. Dream Machine. Oh yeah, I should have known. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Lumen. I like it. Fancy.
Yeah, it's fancy. I saw.
It took them
Oh, really? Wow.
8 months. They're super proud of it too.
Yeah, Alistair.
Well, it looks like it gives you different things too, like
It's
different
random, like when you reload it.
Do you guys,
Yeah.
if you guys have time, enter one dot email and look at that. That is so, I think that's the future. That's how websites are going to be looking. You're going to love it, Alisher. Just that you guys see that, how that, and I found another one that's also crazy. You see this responsiveness of the site?
Okay, now let's give these screenshots all to add Tutor.
Oh my god, you're gonna give it like
Which one, Sharon? Which website was it before I do this?
Yeah, just to show people what's possible. One dot email, that's all. And then you see how
What was it?
one dot email, and then you see how this phone moves around. I find this is really awesome. I think it's next level. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, that's probably 3JS.
Oh, okay. Well, that's too heavy for us, right? We shouldn't be doing that.
harder.
No, you could do it, but you could see some interesting things here. Is as you scroll, it just changes like the image, changes the screenshot. It's not actually as animated as you think, because look, there's actually no typing going on. The message appears, so they just change screenshots between these. Smart. It's cool. You can achieve a lot. Cool effect. But I think the rest of this is doo doo. Not a great. The rest of it kind of stops and becomes a real boring website. But I do like this phone.
Yeah, but I like
Definitely
it.
think-
Yep, that this it's like a
It's definitely something you guys can do because there's plenty of 3D phone models you can find. You can even do this with SVG, not even the 3D model.
oh, that's
21st Dev. If you go to 21st Dev, you can look for iPhone maybe. And here it is, iPhone 15 Pro. And all you have to do is just figure out how to put an image in. It has an option for it.
Really?
There's your no, it's just SVG.
Oh, nice. Oh, then you overlay?
They have other ones too. They have like the Mac one. If you really wanted to play around with it, and then you can see how it's done in here as well. I think this is like pure vectoring, vector paths. So maybe you could even do something with the vector.
Oh. The green is part of.
Not just a picture. All right, I'm gonna say here's some screenshots for inspiration. This website moves smoothly, and between the screenshots is animated and parallax, I'll say.
Yeah, move with scroll.
Well, what else is, you said it's 3JS?
No, they started with 3JS. Now it's Framer. The launch version is Framer.
Framer.
They're using
Oh,
Framer.
man. I gotta try Framer. You guys can try Framer too.
Framer is actually installed in your template. Works out of the box.
Say it mostly uses Framer.
For micro interaction. The whole site's a bunch of micro. Everything's just so flowy. So I like it. Very on brand.
Design that's smooth Framer.
Like,
Okay,
it's mostly reveal and with using Framer. There's been a lot of reveal content and text in it.
now let's do all these screenshots. Let's see how well it does.
Oh, you have Luma screenshots? How many you have?
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, nice.
Too many. Like
I
20.
wonder if they'll nail the footer. The footer's nice. They said it was not hard coded though.
No, yeah, definitely
it was
not.
written by humans for 8 months.
Definitely not. I don't know about 8 months. I think we
They said
can
6 to 8 months. I
we can
think.
get away with a lot more. I mean, I was able to recreate half of that Apple website in like
Well,
less than a week.
they said there was like 2 months of conceptualization of what was going to exist on the website and like artboards. It was like a whole thing. The result's a nice site.
Let's see how well it does with all
Oh,
these
wow.
pictures.
That's a really good. Will it take all that?
I hope.
I know it takes few. Will it take 4, 8, 12, 15?
And what's cool about the sound of thinking is you can actually decrease like the thinking context in order to maximize your output. But hopefully, hopefully it understands what we want from just like the pictures and the minimal description we gave it. I think the goal is to share a screenshot of your front page.
Yeah, I would say.
If you guys want to share something.
They're not like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can go live on Vercel, it'll still time out for most people. Oh, by the way, the chatting part the chat and stream chatting and the rack part does work in Vercel just fine. It's just the workflows that time out on Vercel.
The rag is fine.
Yeah, the rag and the
The rag is
chatting
good?
is all good. So if your app is mostly chatting, you don't really need Railway. You can stick with Vercel because most of the data stuff that's done in the database and handled by the rag API.
Change the model. So something like Croc, something super fast.
Yeah, I tried like Flash. It still times out.
Really?
So it's best to just, if you're workflow focused, you'll definitely need to move to something like Railway.
$5.
But if you're chat focused and you want to like stream chat, you want to have the rag integrated, then you can stick with Vercel. You'll get better speed. Free too.
It's free. But honestly, for $5, bro, it's well worth it to make the investment.
Yeah.
You can't be out here having like bad hosting and launch products. You have to make sure your shit works. That will be your first complaint of your customers. Getting timeout errors.
I mean, yeah, it just wouldn't work.
People get so mad.
Surprisingly, only work with the storage generator. As soon as you ask for
It
more
did work
output,
with the storage, but that's because it's so like basic.
Simple.
The second you get a little bit complicated, it's gonna be more than.
I'm still going. Oh, look like it just finished. Let's get this code. This doesn't look like
A lot of code.
it's a lot of code, but we'll see. Oh, so just basic type errors.
Oh, then that means it'll work.
Ooh, it's a lot better.
Does it still animate? The Google search ads? No. But I love this website thingy.
It's a lot better.
Did it like draw inspiration?
But these don't do much.
It's just
Unfortunately.
useless. Love that.
It did a lot better, but something is missing here for sure. Picture. This is very professional.
Ooh,
That's nice.
I like it. Oh,
That's pretty good. I would honestly just ship this template.
This is really good.
I love the,
You know,
I
you
love
can
the
use
font
it.
too. The font is really nice. What kind is
Well,
it?
it's that classy font, like that high end services font.
Like newsletter font, yeah. Or new, yeah, it's nice.
Now we'll give it one more pass. We'll give it. I'm gonna give it some extra stuff here. I'm gonna say, make it exactly like the screenshots. Right. I say be creative.
I like it though.
Right. As much code as possible.
I love the animation. Everything.
This needs to be well animated, and the animation needs to carry through each little component. As you can see in the screenshots, it transitions smoothly from one screen to another, and things move across the screen.
Sonic is really good.
form on the page. All right. And yeah, the more verbal input you give it about the specifics of how you want it to be, like you can go through each part and really put in the time and try to design each part well. For me, I'm just trying to do the whole thing at once, and it's kind of it's getting there.
That's what I did yesterday. Sonic's really
Alice, are you still talking, honey bear? Okay. I was like, where'd you go?
your host, yeah.
It's good. At least it lets you come back on Android. But yeah, guys, I just like the AI to take care of everything from start to finish. Just because if you're like on the time crunch, for example, you can really pump out a lot. That's fairly good quality. It's not the best quality, but that's where you go granular, component by component, and really describe what you want out of each one. And then I usually just go and work on a different project while this is happening. If there's like a big chunk of code that it processes. But yeah, guys, any questions so far about making your front page? I feel like you could even give it maybe like magazine pages for inspiration if you really wanted to. I'm getting close to the context there. But yeah, it's cool. Something like this footer, for example, like this footer is fairly simple. They just have this really nice image on the bottom that fills it in, and just a bunch of links and their logo. That's it. Gradients is another good way to make it look nice. I'm not a big fan of how some of these pages scroll though. Ooh, there's some interesting things here. I usually don't use some of these like use spring in view animation controls. Typically, I use the basic animations like fade in and slide. And if you guys like something that the AI does, I highly recommend you like save this conversation, and you can later like extract data out of it. You can later maybe extract some of these responses, or continue this conversation and apply this to a different website. And now you kind of have almost like this conversation that you can keep going with. You can switch it to Gemini and keep going for 2 million contexts. Because now that it understands the fundamentals of the type of website you want to create, you can reuse that. You can even go to Multibot and create like an agent flow.
What's an agent flow?
You can have like multiple agents, right? There's an agent builder where you can chain the agents together.
That's an ultra, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. Okay, so now check this out, guys. In AI Tutor, with the Sonnet thinking, you can actually turn down the thinking budget, so you get some more tokens for the output. And then if you get any errors, you can just bring those errors back in and have the AI fix them. And typically, if it's like a type error, super easy to fix. Looks like most of these are type errors. And what's good about Sonnet is it's going to give you like the full code back. So you don't really need to, look where to make these changes. It'll just give you all the fixes. Any more questions, guys? Because once my page is fixed and we see what it looks like, and we see if it's any better than what it did before, we'll wrap it up. Because I know that Sharon is having her hosting discussion in like 15 minutes. What comes to mind? I see you have your hand up.
I have one quick question. What's the practice, say, like when we are starting a new chat, and say, for example, like if you were to go to a different chat but want to continue working on the site, how would you enter, like, give context of this chat to another chat? If
Yeah. So what you could do is you can say if you want the context of this whole chat, you can actually export this whole chat as JSON, or you can just go and pick like a specific response that you like and say something like, here is, the code that I previously created. Make something based on it. And then you can be specific about what you want it to make. A lot of times, I would go and grab like a few pages. If I'm making something in Pixie, I'll grab a few pages that look exactly like that page. If you noticed in Pixie, a lot of video pages look the same, a lot of image pages look the same. So what I would say is, here is what I already have in my project, and then I'd give it 3 or 4 components, and then I'll say make another one exactly like this, but here's what's different, and then I'll be very specific about what's different. Whether it's the images, whether it's the inputs, whether it's the different blocks or colors. So that's how you would probably want to start off the conversation with.
thank you.
But yeah, typically how you want to start out is, here is my code, here is my project, and this is what I want to do with it. Even if it's just like your overall project, you can grab this whole repository, right? Throw it in AI, and just say, I want to change this fundamentally by doing this or something like that. Like, I want to change the way the subscription system works, where there is no message limits. And typically Claude is the one that's going to be really good at coding. Maybe the new Gemini, if you need that much context, but Claude is pretty good.
What does Mistral sit for?
Mistral is a French LLM model, I think. They're okay, but you can't do long context with Mistral. It's a little bit hard. Coding is not as good with Mistral.
How do you upload your whole file? Do you pull the can you download everything from GitHub, or how would you put the whole file into my AI tutor?
Um, the way I do it is I just drag the folder in there, right? So if I wanted to bring in this file, I'll go to my code. I would say I'm gonna go grab the components, for example. I'll do reveal in Finder for you for your Mac. And then majority of the app typically exists within like these four folders: app, components, hooks, and lib. That's where most of the app is. And then I can just drag all these folders into the little chat box on the bottom of Beam. That's how I do it.
And then that gives you the ability to give the big view of the whole project and say,
Yeah.
now I want
Yep.
to change X, Y, and Z, and I'll give you a time frame. Great. And I'm building like a library of coding knowledge that I can cut, because I was trying to think if I could build some AI agents that could code. Have you guys thought about that?
I use one that does in multi-byte. I programmed it.
Yes
I
and no.
actually use. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes and no, but like coding just a little bit is a little bit granular, right? As you can see, as we're running into issues by trying to code one whole page, if you try to not if you try to code a whole project in one go with an agent, it's going to be a little problematic. But what you can set up is different passes, right? Here is a pass with, for example, O1 Pro, which is going to do really good in conceptualization. Then here's a pass with where you take the output of conceptualization from O1 Pro and you put it into Claude, which is really good at just pure coding. And then you take that pure coding and then you can flow it into something else to maybe fix the errors.
So you break it down by folders and what their point is, and that might be the way to do it. Like, so the
Well,
display.
you break it down by what you want the AI to do, right? Because each AI is good at something. You got to break it down by like the thought process that goes into coding, which is first the conceptualization of, for example, what needs to be done from the technical side to make this change. Then step two, actually doing the technical part, which Claude 3.7 best model for it. It's nothing really else better at coding. And then you have the last part, which could be done with something that's cheaper and faster, which is the error fixing with something like O3 Mini. Don't worry about the folders, right? Each project is going to have different kinds of folders. You want an agent that will kind of adjust to that,
Could
right?
could you repeat what you said about the thought process and then the error fixing, and there was something in the middle there that I missed?
Um, yeah, you want to break it down into like first the AI figuring out what changes need to be made from your request, then actually making those changes with code, because the best model for coding is Claude. The best model for something conceptual is probably O1 Pro. And then you can do at the end, after it's done implementing the code, the error fixing with something else, some other model like O3 Mini, which will do it sufficiently, but is much cheaper and faster.
Thanks.
Um, AI, John, one of the things that, I've created kind of a codex of helpful things. Um, I use Obsidian. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I also have, a regular analog journal and things like that. But in terms of what you're building now, it depends on if it's a personal use, a recipe, kind of folder, or if you're going to design a product. for it, where it becomes like a, you know, omnibus type codex that you put out into the universe to help Sherpa other folks. It depends on what you're doing, but generally speaking, if you are creating a workflow in general, having your own, recipe book. Everybody has one in their kitchen, and you should have one on your side. Because here's the other thing too, and I know this sounds really strange, folks, but one of the things that I learned in the lunar project, I added a bunch of links, right, of things that I thought were really, really important. GitHubs that I thought were really, really important because they were helpful to humanity, and I documented them and notarized them and everything in, let's say, April when I had to turn it in. And by the time I was going back and looking at all of these files, half of them were gone. The internet cannot be relied on or depended on to have your stuff. So if you see like a repo that you enjoy, you have to snag it and bag it because it may not necessarily be there. You can't rely on it. Even in first season stuff, some of the things that we snagged and bagged in those repos are gone, for whatever reason. Someone takes them down, whatever. So you kind of have to be a self custodial type person, just like in decentralized Web3. You have to kind of be the archiver of your own stuff and don't rely necessarily on someone else or having it there because I guarantee you it won't. And so if something really resides with you, it becomes your style, your fingerprint. Just like with a regular analog artist, I have my own palette, right? People might not know that I'm doing the work or that this is my thing that they're buying at Target, but there's something weird about it that they say, there's something consistent. Maybe it's a flourish, or maybe it's a color palette, like Martha Stewart has her color palette. And it becomes associated with you. You have your own proof of human signature, you know, and you'll keep coming back to it. They're like little tells. So if you're playing poker, the people at the table, you have tells. You can kind of zhuzh out who these things are. You're going to continue to go back to the trough that you're most comfortable with, but you have to household that stuff for yourself because you can't rely on it being out in the public domain forever. So I just wanted to put that out there and have it on the recording because I do know that um, even though we say the internet is forever, they lie, especially when you have AI adding all of the digital flack and to kind of muddy the waters. Um, it isn't forever. It might be somewhere, but if you have the Wayback Machine or whatever, but repos come and go, and if you want it, you have to snag it and bag it. So I just want to put that out there, John.
And I'm just gonna add this one thing that I've been doing lately. When you go to the AI, say you cannot the output cannot be synthetic data, no synthetic data, no speculation. Give me citations with links, and you will all of a sudden start to realize how much garbage it's been giving you, because sometimes it won't even give you an output. It'll say, I can't do it'll still put out something, but if you look in the small letters below it, it will say, this we cannot do your query. This is what we're doing. So
Well, it picks the path of least resistance. All right. Technology is always going to pick the path of least resistance. It's going to take the easy route, right? You notice it with Grok. You notice it with any of the models that are out in the wild. If you really want to suss out the truth, it's no different than you have to play a parent, okay? A parent to toddlers, because that's exactly what's happening. Is that the toddler is sitting there in the corner, closing their eyes and thinking you can't see them, right? They're deliberately stealing the cookies from the cookie jar, and you as a parent have to suss out what the truth is, right? There's always the nuances, especially if you have siblings, etc. You all know what I'm talking about. It's the same with this. Ross taught me something way back when all of this was shiny and new, and he said I had to be kind of be mean to my models. And I always thought, no, I can attract more bees with honey than vinegar. That's not the case. You actually have to be the authority and the adult in the room and make sure that you're really telling that exactly how you're prompting. Yes, I want citations. I want real citations. Or if you're generating an image, one of the things to kind of check back, say, hey, is there anything like this in the public square already? Go find it. And you'll be amazed at it'll backtrack to the original artist that it scraped it from. And sometimes the artist of whoever they copied it from when it comes to like Picasso or Andy Warhol, they stole heavily from other people. And it's fascinating how it can suss out, who stole from what and who borrowed from this and that kind of stuff. So you have to be aware of that. And there's also certain things like nightshade. We don't talk about that, but a lot of artists are salty, right? So they're adding interesting, flack, for lack of a better term, into their images so that if you are scraping them, it's going to corrupt your data. And so, there's lots of things that you have to marinate on, but ultimately, when you're safeguarding the things that you find useful that become your thing, you you have to safeguard them. So whether it's your passwords and you keep track of that stuff, or you keep track of seed phrases, whatever, you have to keep track of the code that you want, because you can't depend on it always being there. And when it's something that you prompt, Alistair had mentioned this earlier, um, save your results, save your prompt, understand, hey, this really gave me a good result. um, if you were dinking around in, let's say, Midjourney way back in the day, your SREF, I think it's SREF. I don't know how people actually say it. It's like the GIF and GIF thing, but it's the seed, it's the nugget, it's the catalyst for a specific kind of vibe. You're going to have to kind of keep track of that because there's a glut of information out there. um, and it is something like, Sharon's going to be starting her space. She has a lot of those things in her magazine. So and they're wide margins, so you can write in the margins and when you have those notes, and keeping a physical copy of stuff. I mean, I know that sounds so weird, especially when we're trying to downsize our lives and not have a lot of clutter. But if this is your life, you keep your tools clean, right? If my life is building with my hands, I'm going to take care of my hands, right? If your life is building with your computer or your tech, you got to take care of it. And if it's building and being an architect of code and AI, you got to take care of it too. So it's just good housekeeping, folks. But I do believe that we are coming to the end, and Alice sure does have a place to be. So I just wanted to tell each and every one of you, thank you for showing up for yourself, for making the world a better place and using your superpowers for good. I hope you go on to greatness today and have an awesome, awesome weekend. Cash Money Kev is going to take it from here, and then Alice will close us out.
Awesome, Sarah. Alistair, I see your mic's unmuted. Did you have something else to say before I do closing notes, or my closing notes before I hand it off to you?
No, you can go ahead. It actually was not unmuted. I think X is just dying.
Now you see what I've